My son buried me alive in a nursing home. He thought I'd stay silent. He had no idea I was about to become his worst nightmare. On my 63rd birthday, I woke up thinking my son Logan loved me. I curled my hair, put on lipstick for the first time in months, and wore my softest blue sweater because he promised to take me somewhere special. I made his favorite pancakes and set the table for two. The syrup was still warm at noon, cold by 1 o'clock, stone cold when he finally showed up at 2:30. Happy birthday, Mom, he said, shoving a gas station bouquet at me like he was paying a debt. That smile, the same fake one he'd used since he was 7, and broke my favorite vase. Come on, grab your coat. I made reservations. I should have known. A mother always knows, but hope makes you stupid. We didn't drive toward any restaurant. Instead, we turned down a tree-lined road that felt like a funeral march. When I saw the sign, Maple Crest Senior Living, my stomach dropped so fast I thought I might throw up right there in his car. Logan, what the hell is this? He used that voice. You know the one, like I was a confused child who'd wandered into traffic. Mom, we've talked about this. You can't live alone anymore. The memory issues, the confusion, double quotes, WHAT, memory issues. I screamed, my voice cracked like breaking glass. He didn't answer, just popped the trunk like he was unloading groceries. There it was, my suitcase, packed, ready. My entire life crammed into one bag like I was going to summer camp instead of dying. I picked up that suitcase and felt my world collapse. This was planned. This was calculated. This was my own son throwing me away like garbage on my birthday. Inside smelled like death and industrial cleaning fluid. The receptionist smiled like she was selling coffins. Logan handed over papers I'd never seen, power of attorney forms, signatures I didn't remember signing, legal documents that signed my life away. There you go, Mrs. Hayes, she chirped. Room 214 is all ready for you. I didn't cry. Not yet. They led me to a tiny room with walls the color of old bones and a window facing a brick wall. Happy birthday to me. I sat on that hospital bed in my good coat, holding wilted flowers, and realized my son had just buried me alive. That first night was hell, pure hell. I lay there listening to old people moaning, nurses whispering, machines beeping like death timers. My roommate Irene snored like a freight train and smelled like medicine and giving up. I stared at the ceiling and replayed every sign I'd missed, the phone calls that got shorter, the visits that stopped, the way he looked at me lately like I was already dead. In the morning, I asked for my phone. Oh, sweetie, your son had us disconnected, the nurse said with fake sympathy. He said it was too confusing for you. That's when it hit me like a truck. This wasn't about keeping me safe. This was about keeping me quiet. Logan had cut me off from the world, packed me away, and now I was just another forgotten old woman waiting to die. For 3 days, I barely ate. The food tasted like cardboard anyway. I watched other residents shuffle around like zombies, drooling on themselves, staring at nothing. Is this what I had to look forward to? Forgetting my own name while my son spent my money. Then Maya showed up. She was young, maybe 5, with kind eyes that actually saw me as a human being instead of a problem to manage. While taking my blood pressure, she leaned in close and whispered, "You don't belong here." I almost started crying right there. "Don't say that too loud," I whispered back. "They'll think you're crazy too." She laughed, the first real laugh I'd heard in that place. Later that day, she slipped back into my room with something hidden in her hand. "We found this in Mr. Henley's Bible after he passed," she said, unfolding a lottery ticket. "It's 2 weeks old. Nobody claimed his stuff. You want to check if it's worth anything." I wanted to laugh at the absurdity. Me, playing the lottery in a nursing home like some desperate old fool. But what else did I have? "Why not?" I said. "Maybe God owes me a favor." That night, when the halls were quiet and the death watch had begun, I snuck to the community computer, an ancient piece of junk in the activities room that wheezed like an old man. Night shift was changing over. The hallway cameras faced the nurse's station, and Maya had quietly left a handful of printer paper in the tray. I kept my head down, logged in on the shared guest account, and typed in those numbers with shaking hands, ready to close the browser if anyone came by. The screen loaded. I read the numbers once, twice, 3 times. $30-7 million. I covered my mouth to stop from screaming, not from joy, from terror. If Logan found out about this money, he'd find a way to take it. He'd probably have me declared mentally incompetent faster than I could blink. I printed the confirmation page while the station was distracted, folded it smaller than a business card, and shoved it so deep in my bra it might as well have been part of my heart. This was my secret, my weapon, my way out. The next morning, I found Maya restocking supplies. I need a lawyer, I whispered. Someone who knows how to keep secrets. She didn't even blink. I know just the guy. She signed Noah in as a professional visitor during her break, and we met in a small family consult room off the lobby with the door cracked for appearances. His name was Noah, and he looked like he was 12 years old, but when I slid that lottery ticket across the table, his eyes went sharp as knives. We spoke privately under attorney-client privilege, and he explained how we could handle everything discreetly without tipping off staff. Holy shit, he whispered. Can you help me disappear? I asked. Lady, for $37 million, I can make you invisible. The next 6 hours were a blur of paperwork, phone calls, and legal magic. Noah set up a blind trust so complex that my own name was buried under layers of shell companies and legal entities. He got me a new phone, a post office box, fake email addresses, even a safe house across town. He also explained the state's lottery rules. The trustee could claim the prize on behalf of the trust, and anonymity would be preserved under that statute until the funds cleared. His firm advanced a small living stipend so I wouldn't be trapped. Logan would never find this money, never touch it, never even know it existed. Maya hugged me when I left at dawn. Don't forget us little people, she joked. You saved my life, I told her. I'll never forget that. I walked out of Maple Crest and never looked back. I wasn't under guardianship, and Maple Crest couldn't detain me. I signed the routine discharge form during permitted early morning hours, took my suitcase and ID, and climbed into a rideshare Noah had arranged under the trust's account. The safe house was perfect, a little brick rental on the wrong side of town that Logan would never think to look. For a week, I lived like a ghost, keeping the curtains drawn, paying cash for groceries when I ventured out at dawn, and checking the news online only from a fresh email and a new laptop Noah provided. I used a cheap flip phone for necessary calls, and never the same route twice. It came sooner than expected. Please help us find my missing mother, Eleanor Hayes, Logan posted on Facebook, using a photo from 5 years ago where I looked confused and frail. The comments poured in, prayers, sympathy, people calling him a devoted son for caring so much. I laughed until I cried. Then, I just cried. My own son was using my disappearance to play the victim on social media. But that was nothing compared to what came next. A letter arrived in a cream-colored envelope, the expensive kind that screams lawyer. Inside was a photocopy of my signature, on a power of attorney I'd never signed. Below it, my dead husband Walter's signature on an old business loan. Below that, Logan's neat handwriting, tying it all together. My blood turned to ice water. I fired up my laptop and started digging, like my life depended on it, because it did. For 3 solid days, I traced every bank statement, every suspicious transaction, every clerical error that had nibbled away at my savings over the past 2 years. The picture that emerged made me want to vomit. Logan hadn't just stolen from me, he'd been systematically looting my accounts for months. Forged signatures, fake loans, credit cards, opened in my name. That old catering business Walter and I had run in the 80s. Logan had somehow reactivated it and borrowed against it, using our signatures like we were still alive and running it. But the worst discovery came when Noah helped me access public records through his law firm. He pulled docket searches and agency filings and told me that Logan Hayes was already under active federal investigation for fraud, embezzlement, and identity theft as of that week. My son wasn't just a thief, he was a career criminal who'd been using me as his personal ATM. I made 3 copies of everything and mailed them anonymously to the Department of Justice, with certified tracking and a clean chain of custody documented by Noah's office. Let them connect the dots. Let them see what a devoted son really looks like. Then Logan made his biggest mistake. Another official letter arrived, a petition to have me declared mentally incompetent. Attached were witness statements from people claiming I was confused, erratic, living in a fantasy world. They'd even included audio clips of old voicemails I'd left edited to make me sound crazy. My son was trying to steal my mind along with my money. That's when I stopped playing defense and went on the attack. I called Dr. Camila Rivera, the best psychiatrist in the city, and paid her premium rate for an emergency evaluation. For 2 hours, she grilled me with every cognitive test in the book: memory, reasoning, comprehension. I aced them all. Mrs. Hayes, she said finally, you're sharper than most people half your age. Anyone who thinks you're incompetent is either lying or an idiot. The competency hearing was standing room only. Word had leaked that something big was happening. The mysterious case of the missing millionaire mother. I wore my best navy coat, Walter's old watch, and heels that clicked like gunshots on the marble floor. Logan stood when I entered, wearing his practiced mask of concern. He tried to catch my eye, probably hoping to see fear or confusion. Instead, he saw fury. Your Honor, Noah began, his voice cutting through the courtroom chatter. We submit comprehensive psychiatric evaluation, confirming Mrs. Hayes's full mental capacity. We also present detailed financial records showing systematic theft and fraud committed by the petitioner, Mr. Logan Hayes, who is currently under federal investigation for these very crimes. He had already filed a written opposition with exhibits and affidavits the day before, so the judge had the full record in front of him. The judge's eyebrows shot up. Logan's lawyer started sweating. Furthermore, Noah continued, we have evidence that this entire competency petition is a desperate attempt by Mr. Hayes to cover up his criminal activity by silencing his primary victim, his own mother. When the judge asked if I wanted to speak, I walked to that witness stand like I was walking to war. Your Honor, I said, my voice carrying to every corner of that courtroom. My name is Eleanor Hayes. I am 63 years old. I raised this man from birth. I sacrificed everything for him. I loved him more than my own life. I turned to look directly at Logan, watching his mask finally crack. I am the mother who sat by his hospital bed for 3 days when he had pneumonia. I'm the mother who worked 2 jobs to pay for his college. I'm the mother who believed every lie he told me because I thought that's what love meant. My voice grew stronger with every word. But I'm also the woman who won the lottery while sitting in the nursing home where he dumped me. I'm the woman who's been watching him steal from me for 2 years. And I'm the woman who's going to make sure he pays for every crime he's committed. The courtroom exploded. Logan's face went white as paper. Reporters started scribbling frantically. I am not confused, Your Honor. I am not incompetent. I am angry. And I have 37 million reasons to make sure justice is served. The judge slammed his gavel repeatedly. Order, order in the court. When the chaos died down, he looked at Logan with disgust. Mr. Hayes, this petition is denied. Furthermore, I'm ordering a full investigation into the allegations raised here today. Logan tried one last desperate play. Mom, please, he called out as court officers moved toward him. I'm your son. You can't do this to family. I stood up slowly, every eye in that courtroom on me. You stopped being my son the day you threw me away like garbage, I said. Now you're just another criminal who picked the wrong victim. That night, Noah called with the news I'd been waiting for. The FBI had arrested Logan at his apartment. Fraud, identity theft, elder abuse, embezzlement. The charges kept growing. His bail was set at $500,000, money he didn't have because he'd already stolen and spent it all. I should have felt victorious. Instead, I felt empty, hollow. I'd won. But the cost was everything I'd thought my life meant. The media circus was insane. Lottery winner destroys criminal son was the headline that went viral. Everyone wanted to interview the old lady who'd outsmarted her scheming son. I gave one interview with Paula Kim from Channel 7. I wore a simple gray sweater and let them put makeup over my wrinkles. Eleanor, she asked, what do you want people to know about your story? I want them to know that evil doesn't always look like a stranger in a dark alley, I said, looking directly into the camera. Sometimes it looks like the child you raised. Sometimes it calls you mom while it destroys your life. And what's next for you? I'm going to use this money to make sure what happened to me never happens to another parent. I'm starting the Eleanor Foundation, legal aid for seniors whose families are stealing from them. Because if my story teaches anything, it's that sometimes the people who promise to love you are the ones you need protection from. The foundation launched with $20 million from my winnings. We've helped hundreds of elderly people escape financial abuse. Every case we win feels like justice for that woman who sat alone in a nursing home on her birthday, wondering where she went wrong. Logan got 8 years in federal prison. He wrote me letters from jail, apologies, excuses, promises to change. I returned every one unopened. Some betrayals are too deep for forgiveness. I used the rest of the money to buy a beautiful house with a garden and a view of the mountains. Maya visits sometimes. She quit her job at Maple Crest and now works for my foundation. helping other seniors fight back against family predators. On quiet evenings, I sit in my garden and think about the woman I used to be, the one who believed love meant never questioning, never doubting, never protecting herself. That woman died in room 214 of a nursing home. The woman who survived is harder, smarter, and absolutely ruthless when it comes to protecting the innocent. People ask me if I miss Logan, if I regret destroying his life. The answer is simple. You can't destroy what was never real. The son I loved was a lie. The criminal I exposed was the truth. I'm Eleanor Hayes. I'm 63 years old. I won the lottery, and I won justice. And if you're listening to this story while your own family is slowly destroying you, remember this: love without respect is just pretty slavery. Fight back. You're stronger than they think, and you deserve so much better than being thrown away. I survived. I won. And I'm not done fighting yet. Have you ever had to walk away from someone you loved to find yourself? Share your story in the comments. I'm listening.